Hi, this is Chris Romanski of Sportopia Games talking about League Night Roll and Write. This is my entry for the Roll and Write contest on the Game Crafter, and this includes 5 standard house dice. They have sides that are zeros, ones, 2, and 3. A total of 9 pins on each side, or on each die. You get 5 of those. I also have a couple of modules here. I've got bumpers, which have just 1s and 2s on them. I have Body English, which has a -1 die, a blank side, and a +1. And then 6 house balls with some pretty cool patterns on here that also have 9 pins on each, but in different denominations on each side there. Okay, so the way that the standard game works, you take your scorecard and your dry erase marker, you set that off to the side, write down everybody's name that's playing. So, do that. Then you've got this little reminder board here that has your dice locks on it. That'll be important. And the base game starts, you got the 5 house ball dice, you roll them, and then you see how many pins you have. Now you get to save between 0 and 5 dice. That will be your first roll down the alley. So I kind of like that I got 5 on 2 dice, so I'm going to set that aside. Then I take the rest. You have to roll all of the dice you don't lock. And hey, that's pretty cool. So I got another 5 here. So the way this works is that if you get 10 on 1 or 2 rolls, you get a strike. If you get lucky and you end up, well, if you get less luckily, and you end up getting, let's say this, 5 and 6, that gives you 11. You have over 10, that means that you get a spare, and you'd mark that as a 5 spare on your score sheet. If you ended up getting this and say at 5-4, that would be 9, that's an open frame, so then you'd mark that 5-4 on the score sheet. So let's say that we did that. We had this 5-4. Mark it as 5 and then 4, and you have 9 pins total. Let's say Joe got that first that I had, so then he'd end up with a strike, so you'd mark an X in there. So for those unfamiliar with bowling scoring, if you have an open frame where you don't get a strike or a spare, you just mark down the points and you add it to your previous total. If you get a spare, you get your next throw. So let's say we did that. We have a spare here, and then my next throw I had, let's say, a 4. So now I have a 9, and I'd add 10 and 4 to that, so I'd end up adding 14 for a score of 23. And then for Joe, he's got a strike. So with the strike, you get your next 2 throws. So let's say we hit 3 and a 6, so that's 9 pins. So 10 plus 9 is 19. And then his 9 here, so we had 28. So that's kind of just a real quick and dirty how to do scoring. So let's talk about some of the modules here. Okay, so we left off here, we've got 9 pins. So now, let's say you wanted to add the Body English to this. So anytime you end up with 9 or 11, you get to roll the Body English die, which is this white die here. And remember, it's got the plus and minus on it. So right now I rolled, it had nothing. So that would mean that I still have 9. But let's say that it flipped up here to this +1 pin. Well, now I have 5 plus 4 plus 1, so that's 10. So now I would get a strike on what would have previously been an open frame. And that's just kind of simulating, oh, hey, you know, gave it a little extra oomph, and then you ended up getting a better result. Okay, one of the other modifications in here, if you want to play with bumpers. So you roll the bumper die with the rest of the dice, and then you get to basically replace one of the dice with the bumper result. So let's say I didn't want that, and now I've got 6 total pins. Now this is a bad roll, and you probably want to not save that, but just as an example, that's what you would do. Another part of the game is that you have 3 karma rolls, so you get to expend a karma by just putting a line through the square over there in your karma, and then you do get to reroll all unlocked dice. So since that was my first roll, I had to re-roll everything here. So let's say we save those for 4. I have to re-roll these dice again. Okay, so now I have 4 there, so here's where the bumpers come in. So if I didn't play with bumpers, I'd have 5 pins here, so I'd be 4 and 5 and have a 9. But because I have bumpers on right now, I'm going to take advantage of the bumper, and then now I have 4 and 6 for a strike. So then the final module you can play with is you can have your own personal ball. So we have 6 of these awesome printed dice from the Game Crafter, and on them, like if I pick this one, I've got 3 sets of 3, but then on the flip side I have 3 nothings. They all have a different split. They're all different. They all have 9 pins, but they're all a different split on the sides. So set those off to the side. Okay, so I want this one here, the one with the 3s and the 0s, this to be my personal ball. So what I do is I get rid of one of the house balls, and now I'm rolling these 5 instead. And it'll just create a different distribution. Some of them are better at spares, some of them are better at strikes. It's pretty interesting. So now I've got 8, and I roll the last one here, I have 1. So we're playing with the personal balls plus the body English. I can roll the body English at 9, and there, now we got a strike. So you play this until you get to the end of the 10th frame. If you end up with a situation where, let's say you had 7 spare and you're playing, you've got 1 spot left in here. So the way this would work is that you do your first roll, and then if you got anything other than a strike, you just get whatever you have on your first roll. So here's an interesting situation. So I have 11 on my first roll. So when this happens normally, I can lock this in, and then that's going to count as a 9 spare because I do have over 10 pins. Common thing to do is potentially go for that blank side. So okay, I'm going to save 10. I'm going to re-roll the last one. And I got 2. Okay, no luck. So now, because I ended up with a 9 spare in my 10th frame, I can't get the spare, but I will put the 9 in there to show that I got 9 pins on that first roll. So you play until everybody's through the 10th frame, and whoever has the highest score wins. Thanks for watching.